so many of you have been getting in touch as couples, as mums-to-be, as mums of new babies, wanting to know what this means for you in the next few months ahead. Well, I'm delighted to say that I am able to work from home today to answer some of those questions, and I'm in good company. I'm with the GP, Dr Zoe Williams, who herself has been self-isolating at home for the last couple of weeks because she had symptoms of COVID-19. And I'm also joined by the private midwife, Sarah Jane Mee, who is fielding a lot of questions from anxious mums-to-be and is best placed to give advice on just what happens next. So many questions to get through, and thank you to all of you who have sent them in. Ladies, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Right, let's get stuck in with the most obvious one. Dr Zoe, this is the most obvious one. Why are pregnant women more at risk?
Okay, so yeah, it's been really confusing, hasn't it? So let me sort of break it down. So far, from the evidence that we have, pregnant women are no more likely to get the infection, and they're no more likely to have the serious consequences of COVID-19. However, we know that in pregnancy, especially in the third trimester, many women who are pregnant, it does affect how their immune system works and can make them more vulnerable to getting unwell with viruses. So although this doesn't seem to be the case so far with coronavirus, because we know so little about it, it is actually it's taking additional precautions because we still know so little, and we know that pregnant women with viruses generally tend to have problems. But the reassuring thing is that so far with coronavirus, we're not seeing that pregnant women are more likely to run into the serious consequences.
There's another question I had anonymously that's sort of related to that, who said, is there a greater risk depending on what stage of pregnancy you're at? Because originally the government were talking about women in the third trimester. I'm in that. But then I had a lot of women getting in touch confidentially saying, I'm 3 to 4 weeks pregnant. Am I at greater risk at this stage?
Yes, so beyond 28 weeks, which is what we call the third trimester, we know that the interference that pregnancy can have with your immune system is more likely. But also there's an added note, and that is that although pregnant women and young healthy people are very unlikely to get the serious consequences of COVID-19, a small number do. And if a woman is pregnant in the third trimester and she does require ventilation, it can be very difficult and very complicated. So a couple of additional reasons why third trimester is we need to be even more cautious.
Just one more question for you, Dr Zoe, before I talk to Sharon. This is from Charlotte Dorothy, who got in touch with me on Instagram. She says, are newborns particularly vulnerable? Do we need to self-isolate with them, and for how long? Because, of course, a lot of people have heard in the news a few weeks ago, a mother and her newborn were diagnosed with COVID-19 while in hospital. So what's the effect on newborns?
Yes, so newborns, so far, the evidence tells us that newborns are not a vulnerable group. They're not more likely to get difficulties with COVID-19, which is really, really good news, because obviously newborns, we wrap them up in cotton wool and we look after them and we protect them from everything. And of course, we should still do that, but they're not vulnerable. So let's annihilate that anxiety that many pregnant women or new mothers will have. But it is important to say that everybody wants to come and visit when you have a newborn. And at the moment, for a number of reasons, to protect the newborn, but also to protect the people visiting and everybody else, unfortunately, no visitors allowed.
Okay, yeah, well, that's why we've got FaceTime, Skype, Zoom, everything like that. I know a lot of people are letting their relatives meet their newborns that way. And Sharon,